So, okay, I got it. I'm planning on going back to UFC.
You do?
If they'll have me, I would like to go back and fucking whoop someone's ass there.
Well, who would you want to, if it was offered? Justin Gaethje, it sounds like.
I'm not fighting at 55 though, but right now I'm not fighting in there because there's nobody to fight really. It's kind of slow rolling.
Like UFC would.
I don't really have a name in mind right now in the UFC. That's why I'm not there right now. Otherwise,
but the name, the draw, the excitement that you'd bring to it, I feel like it's really lacking in UFC. Everybody's
that's
rushing, everybody's
like, I'd
wrestling.
be there if there was somebody that I wanted to go fight. But
I want to see the rubber match with Conor McGregor.
with time for sure. Yeah, whenever he's back, me and him for sure got unfinished.
If there's another fight that would sell and it would be huge, it would be that. It would be Diaz 3.
Oh yeah,
that could be, especially if Diaz gets past Poirier.
Yes.
Even if he doesn't, I mean, just that fight alone. I mean, there's the history between those two guys. I mean, that would be,
and it's so appealing stylistically as well. The fight, you know,
yeah.
Like I'm a grappler at heart. I love grappling, but I also understand that a jiu-jitsu tournament will put people to sleep. You know, even if you're into jiu-jitsu, it's hard to watch a jiu-jitsu tournament.
Yes,
but anybody can see a punch hitting someone in the head and them falling down. That's that's exciting. And him and Diaz is such a great personality matchup. It's such a great skill clash. You know, if I was to design somebody that's going to bring the best out of a corner, you'd want someone that, you know, can hit back and take a big shot and put up at the trash. It's a beautiful fight. I would love to see that rematch.
Yeah, the thing about Diaz when they first fought was that he didn't give a fuck about trash talk. It didn't bother him at all.
All right. So imagine this moment. That door flies open and everybody in the room immediately knows what's happening. That signature entrance, the way Nate Diaz commands attention without saying a word, and boom, he's making his intentions crystal clear. It's like all those years of tension, that burning rivalry that never really died down just came flooding back all at once. What blew everyone away was how direct Diaz was about it. There he stood, finger pointed straight at Conor McGregor, that White House card raised up like a battle flag. This wasn't some respectful veteran tour or a chase for gold. This was pure chaos, all that history and that raw bad blood between these two warriors. It hit everyone like lightning, showing what happens when real animosity meets massive spotlight. And honestly, this isn't me spinning anything. This is just what went down.
Story that Conor McGregor is being talked to headline the White House card. I don't buy it. I can't buy it. Why are we would be turning to Conor McGregor? And the answer is also out there, because he is the sport's biggest star. That is true. So is that what you need? If you've got the open checkbook and you've got the magic wand, without saying names, do you say, I'm going to put as my main event the sport's biggest star? Is that your answer? Doesn't matter who he's fighting. What if it's a championship match? You have an open checkbook and you have a magic wand and you don't use any names, but you're going to put the championship on. Would you say heavyweight? Would you say women's 135? Would you say wherever Kazmat Chimaev's at? Like, how is it that you would answer that question? And then what if you're really going to go for a big fight? What if you really follow this for a long time? You're going to do what we used to call a super fight, but now we call it title versus title.
Listen, when you're dealing with a champion situation, normally you'd expect to see them matched up with another elite fighter, maybe putting them against a fellow champion or top contender. But check this out, Nate Diaz cut right through all the noise, zero hesitation whatsoever. The moment that prestigious White House card got waved in his direction, Conor McGregor became the one and only name that sparked his interest. No sales pitch required, no long explanations needed, just the raw truth that nothing else registers with Diaz unless McGregor is standing on the other side of that octagon. It's obvious as can be, Diaz is ready to go, the fan base is absolutely dying for it, and that legendary third chapter between them is just sitting there like a loaded gun, waiting for the right moment to explode. This isn't about getting permission from anybody. The whole world knows exactly why this matchup needs to go down.
Last thing, White House card, like he said, you want Conor McGregor?
Yeah, but the whole thing's at WWE, so it's like, at least that's happening and getting something to talk about, something to watch, and I'm looking forward to that fight actually.
Now fans want it.
Devontae and Paul should be good, and then because what else are you looking forward to? Hurry up.
Nothing.
Hurry up. What else?
If it's not you, McGregor, Ryan, it's nobody.
So it's good. It's good.
Now fans want you versus McGregor 3. Do you want that fight?
Yeah, for sure.
White House?
Yeah. What time?
Alright, so Dana White didn't completely shut the door on this trilogy talk, but he definitely poured some reality check all over those immediate hopes, and you need to grasp what that means. White stressed that time is the real game changer here, explaining with total conviction that 12 months in this lightning-fast sport can flip the entire script upside down. Factor in McGregor dropping comeback hints while Diaz has been vocal about his hunger to return. What you're looking at is a situation where today's certainty means absolutely nothing. Consider the variables here. Matchups get reshuffled, titles change hands, and the whole priority list gets rewritten from scratch. When next Independence Day comes around, this entire MMA landscape could look totally unrecognizable. The massive trilogy showdown isn't buried, it's just not ready to be inked on contracts right now. Conor McGregor announced he's diving back in. Diaz declared he wants to be the guy across from him.
Interested in that trilogy.
That fight's a year away. Landscape will change so much by next 4th of July. Who knows what's going to happen? Who knows who's going to be on the card? What the main event will be, or who will hold all the titles? Everything could be completely different. So it's not even worth thinking about it right now.
Now here's where things get interesting. Legendary Michael Bisping took the complete opposite approach from Dana White's careful positioning, going straight for the jugular with his trademark directness. He laid it out plain and simple. When Nate Diaz actually steps back into that cage, and when Conor McGregor officially returns to active duty, Bisping sees zero doubt about what needs to happen. That's the fight to book without question every single time. Their feud already sits at the top of UFC's most explosive rivalries ever. Picture dropping that kind of iconic battle on a historic White House card. It would immediately establish the massive scale for the whole event, especially considering the other blockbuster fights already planned for the main billing. But Bisping's reasoning goes way beyond just promotional fireworks. He recognizes McGregor doesn't technically need another bout to cement his place in history. There's this undeniable reality though, that warrior spirit never dies, that magnetic pull toward one more moment of glory, and that's what makes McGregor's participation in such a monumentally significant card feel practically written in stone.
If Nate Diaz was to come back, but if he was, and if Conor McGregor does actually make it back, I think that's the fight to make all day long. The one-on-one, there were some of the biggest fights in UFC history. Nate Diaz versus Conor McGregor at the White House would be absolutely insane. It probably will have Tom Aspinall versus John Jones in the main event. It probably will have Conor McGregor versus someone, Michael Chandler or Nate Diaz, in the co-main event. So that just kind of sets the tone for how big that card would be. What do you think? Do you think Conor McGregor will actually make it back? Of course, he hasn't fought since 2021. Right? It's going to be 5 years since he last fought. I, for one, fair play to the guy. Fair play, man. Respect. He doesn't need to do this. He doesn't need to come back. He's got lots of other avenues and ways to make money. But fighting is something that never leaves you, okay? It's a part of who you are. It's in your DNA. It's part of your soul. And he wants to come back and he wants to get his hands raised in victory. Of course, he wants to come back and be a part of that one.
Bisping then expanded his vision even wider, smoothly transitioning from individual rivalry talk to pure spectacle discussion. When we're seriously considering those rare super fights capable of rocking the entire sport's foundation, he was brutally honest. He pointed straight at John Jones versus Alex Pereira as the one matchup that would absolutely overshadow everything else imaginable. Look at the facts here. Pereira's incredible ascent, his undeniable magnetism, and what he's achieved by dominating across weight classes. It transforms this potential fight into something almost fictional, like a fantasy booking come to life. If he somehow managed to defeat a legend like Jones, Bisping emphasized, it wouldn't just be another victory, it would permanently establish a legacy completely untouchable in this sport's entire history. However, he quickly brought the discussion back to Earth's harsh realities. He acknowledged that McGregor versus Chandler still appears to be the expected path for both competitors, but he provided an essential warning when the complicated maze of politics, influence, and behind-the-scenes relationships within this business comes into play. Even the most carefully laid plans can suddenly shift in directions nobody predicted.
Fair, if we're talking about super fights, if we're talking about something that's really going to get the MMA world excited, then it would be John Jones versus Alex Pereira, right? Alex Pereira is one of the biggest stars. He came back in style and destroyed Magomed Ankalaev. The man's phenomenal. He's unbelievable. He's a two-weight division champion. What he's achieved in this sport is ridiculous. If he was to face John Jones and if he was to beat him, then I guess he would go on and fight for the third belt, and that'd be it. That'd be set in stone. Alex Pereira would, without a doubt, without a shadow of a doubt, be the greatest mixed martial artist to ever compete. Simple as that. There's no one that's fought for 3 belts or won 3 belts. Just the thought of that alone is crazy. I mean, it took me about, 26 fights in the UFC to even get 1 title shot. So they're not easy to come by. Anyway, so there's that. Now they're talking about Conor McGregor fighting Michael Chandler. That's going to be the fight that happens. We all know about that. There's nothing new there. And the thing is, if Donald Trump wants it, if the President of the United States wants it, and as Eric says in that video, him and
the MMA guru brilliantly redirected everything back toward the essential factors of timing and circumstances, keeping the focus locked on what fans genuinely crave and anticipate. He delivered a sharp observation, explaining that the fight everyone should really be monitoring next depends entirely on Nate Diaz actually mounting a legitimate comeback, not just showing up, but making a real statement with a massive undeniable victory at welterweight. Once that happens, he reasoned, then the much-anticipated trilogy bout with McGregor truly becomes worthy of a White House card's magnitude. This distinction matters enormously. Currently among the hardcore community, opinions seem divided pretty evenly. Some are excited about a possible Masvidal rematch, while others have their eyes on Glover Teixeira. But here's the fascinating part. Numerous respected voices throughout the sport, including Ariel Helwani plus countless other industry insiders, are subtly yet consistently pushing toward Diaz versus McGregor as the next truly marquee showdown that has to materialize, regardless of the circumstances.
Because that's not the fight I want to see next, okay? If Nate Diaz comes back and gets a big win over someone in the welterweight division, okay? And he does it impressively, and then the McGregor fight happens. That's when I'm interested. But right now, I feel like the hardcore fans are kind of in mutual agreement that it's Masvidal or Gaethje. To us, it's kind of Masvidal or Gaethje, and for Chael Sonnen and Ariel Helwani to both say that they think Nate Diaz trilogy should be next is strange to me. Very strange to me, because I would love to see either Gaethje or Masvidal. I feel like everyone's in agreement here. We've seen that Donald Cerrone has been beaten by Conor McGregor in his return at UFC 2.
Switching directions completely, Chael Sonnen brought his trademark unfiltered approach to bear, slicing straight through all the McGregor hype surrounding the potential White House card headlining spot, and he delivered it with serious skepticism. He openly recognized that absolutely McGregor stands as this sport's biggest star without question. Nobody can dispute that reality. Still, Sonnen immediately pushed back, arguing that fame alone doesn't automatically qualify him as the perfect choice for such a historically important main event. Sonnen then broke down his detailed approach for constructing an ideal card with unlimited budget behind it. He challenged everyone. Would you genuinely select a non-title McGregor bout? Or would you lean toward a championship fight, a huge heavyweight showdown, maybe a women's bantamweight title, or perhaps a legitimate super fight featuring champion versus champion? His message delivered with total precision. Cut deep star power definitely counts, but the much bigger and more vital question becomes whether that star power in this particular setting produces the type of matchup that genuinely moves mountains, offering something beyond just celebrity recognition.
That Conor McGregor is being talked to headline the White House card. I don't buy it. I can't buy it. Why are we would be turning to Conor McGregor? And the answer is also out there, because he is the sport's biggest star. That is true. So is that what you need? You've got the open checkbook and you've got the magic wand. Without saying names, do you say, I'm going to put as my main event the sport's biggest star? Is that your answer? Doesn't matter who he's fighting. What if it's a championship match? You have an open checkbook and you have a magic wand and you don't use any names, but you're going to put the championship on. Would you say heavyweight? Would you say women's 135? Would you say wherever Kazmat Chimaev's at? Like, how is it that you would answer that question? And then what if you're really going to go for a big fight? What if you really follow this for a long time? You're going to do what we used to call a super fight, but now we call it title versus title.
Expanding on that concept, Sonnen continued by carefully breaking down why all this McGregor discussion, especially for such a landmark occasion, seems questionable and possibly unrealistic. Think through the logistics here. Scheduling him for summer 2025 on a card supposedly happening mid-2026, at a location that doesn't exist yet, with tickets nowhere near being available. Honestly, it begins to feel absurd. The core issue he forcefully maintained becomes this: if Conor isn't holding a current title or actively pursuing championship contention at that theoretical moment, then positioning him as the main attraction means the card's biggest, most recognizable name won't be competing for hardware. Put differently, a non-title McGregor fight headlining a card of this incredible historical importance makes that larger-than-life narrative extremely difficult to market effectively, even considering there might be 2 additional legitimate championships contested on the supporting card. It completely weakens the main event's perceived importance.
And it's one of the reasons that I'm struggling with the idea that McGregor is being penciled in the middle of 2025 for a card that sits dead center in the middle of 2026 at a venue yet to be built, for tickets that are yet to be on sale. I struggle with it because we're openly saying if we're going to put Conor on there that there's no title. Unless you believe that Conor McGregor is going to demote himself, right? The biggest draw should be the main event. Your biggest star, regardless of belt, should be the main event. But in this case, if our biggest draw and our biggest star is not a champion or a contender in any weight class, we're going to acknowledge up front that our biggest show will not contain a title, which makes it a little difficult down the road to go, this show's bigger than big. In fact, we got 2 titles up. Yes, you heard me, there's 2 titles. When can you ever get that? And nothing more important than a title fight.
Right when you figured this debate couldn't get more intense, Ben Askren stayed true to his reputation by launching a total bombshell directly at Nate Diaz's whole reputation, pulling 0 punches while doing it. He argued that Diaz, regardless of all the excitement and passionate devotion from his supporters, was essentially an ordinary fighter who managed through pure charisma and confidence to market himself as world-class material, pointing to what Askren characterized as an unremarkable record both inside the UFC and throughout his overall career. He carefully positioned Diaz's massive reputation as being much more about image than actual sustained excellence inside that cage. To make things even spicier, Askren playfully suggested that voicing this type of brutal honesty publicly, particularly regarding a fighter as cherished as Diaz, could easily provoke an all-out relentless social media assault from Diaz's incredibly dedicated fan base. Whether you're a devoted supporter of Nate Diaz or you've always considered his brand somewhat inflated, Askren's deliberately controversial perspective is definitely going to ignite heated, passionate arguments throughout every section of the MMA community.
No, listen, Nate Diaz, he is the most puzzling. He's not. I don't even think he's that good. I'll go get his record if you want me to. But he has convinced people he is good at fighting somehow. Some way.
He's pretty good.
I'm gonna go get his damn record, Daniel. It's not.
But he won the Ultimate Fighter. He won the Ultimate Fighter. I'm saying he was good for the time that he was fighting.
No, he wasn't. He was average.
He was. Yeah. Okay. I'm just.
Okay.
Trying
I'm gonna go get the record. I'm gonna go get the record. They're gonna yell at me. I know this. Okay. Let's see. Well, his record is 21-13.
Oh my God. Really?
Yes. That's not that great.
Okay. I take it back. I'm taking it back.
And he was going into the UFC. He was, I think it was 5-1. So within the UFC, he was 16-12.
That's not good.
That's not very good.
That's not good. There's really no way to twist that into good.
Yeah. So, but you know, his personality. That's another one's like, how did his personality catch on? And he says funny things sometimes. He's a little bit different. I don't know. Yeah. And listen, if you post this clip, please don't post this clip because the Diaz.
Moving to the discussion of who should legitimately headline at the White House, we got a range of viewpoints, beginning with Daniel Cormier addressing all the Jon Jones heavyweight speculation with some necessary reality. Though he acknowledged that Jones moving up division sounds fascinating, Cormier strongly believes that Jones's finest work and most importantly, the fight that fans truly want to witness, still exists firmly at light heavyweight. He specifically highlighted a potential explosive encounter with Alex Pereira at 205 pounds on that White House card. Cormier recognized that Jones has definitely added considerable mass over the years, but he stays convinced that dropping those additional pounds to hit 205 again remains totally achievable for Jones, keeping that dream matchup very much realistic and possible. Meanwhile, Jon Anik presented his own detailed blueprint for the White House card, a brilliant combination of smart practicality and pure fan satisfaction. For his headliner, he proposed the heavyweight championship, probably featuring Tom Aspinall defending against Cyril Gane, while carefully noting that speculation around potential Jon Jones versus Alex Pereira stays unclear for him. As his co-main event, Anik carefully scheduled a bantamweight title bout between fierce Petrin and relentless Merab Dvalishvili, expressing genuine hope that by June 14th, viewers might witness an incredible 4 or possibly 5 undisputed championships decided on that historic White House lawn, a truly legendary, almost unbelievable card if everything somehow aligns perfectly. Additionally, Brendan Schaub revealed what he passionately describes as a fantasy card, a roster so loaded it would definitely make any real MMA enthusiast completely lose control. He carefully packed it with an array of explosive talent like Ilia Topuria, Islam Makhachev, Sean Strickland, Alex Pereira, and naturally Jon Jones, plus that highly awaited McGregor vs. Diaz trilogy bout, boldly declaring it the type of lineup he'd happily pay premium prices to experience without hesitation. He didn't limit himself to just the main card either, stressing that even preliminary fights featuring emerging talents like Gable Steveson and Bo Nickel would be must-see television, with Michael Chandler also confirmed. Everything combining into what he passionately calls a card so explosively incredible it could permanently reset fan expectations for all future events. Taking a completely different angle, Henry Cejudo shared his thoughts on what he considers the absolute biggest potential fights for the White House card, staying true to his direct communication style throughout. From a loaded selection of bouts including Alex Pereira versus Jon Jones, Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall, Jones versus Francis Ngannou, and McGregor versus Michael Chandler, Cejudo definitively backed Jones versus Aspinall. For Cejudo, this goes beyond current rankings or recent performances. It represents something much deeper, pure symbolism. A battle perfectly matching America's 250th birthday celebration. An epic collision of legacies featuring the undisputed greatest of all time, facing off against the unquestioned current king. From his remarkably thoughtful perspective, this specific fight transcends being merely significant. It stands as the one definitive bout with the ability to characterize that entire historic card. After absorbing all these perspectives from the sport's most influential voices, what do you think is going to happen? Will Nate Diaz actually return to the octagon for that final showdown with Conor, or is McGregor possibly targeting a different opponent for his much-anticipated comeback? Share your predictions in the comments down below, and make sure to smash that subscribe button for the latest breaking news. Believe me, you definitely don't want to miss any part of this developing story.